Welcome to Forward and Out. I'm Robert Rizzo. Please join me in welcoming a very, very talented and entertaining poet, Jama Sentwali. Welcome to Forward and Out.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Very well.
Good. Tell us first, where are you from?
A town called Shudrin, Louisiana, a town of 400 people, north central Louisiana.
And how long have you been in New York?
Since 1982.
And how long have you been writing poetry?
Since 1992.
Since 1992. Did something inspire you to start writing?
Well, I worked for a CPA firm, and they were doing the taxes for Chuck D, a Public Enemy. And
He's a rapper, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they asked me if I would write a song. They asked him if someone brought a song in, would he listen to it? And they asked me to write it. I said, write a song.
So just out of the blue, someone asked you to write a song for a famous rapper.
Right.
I think it's divine intervention.
But he never got a chance to see it, but
Okay.
it was something that got me started writing.
So that was your inspiration,
Right.
huh? So from there, you kept writing, and what's your voice when you write? What are you writing about?
Well, it's sort of different. I don't have a particular style, but I like the poem write itself, sort of. It makes it harder to write, but
Why?
because it's not. Most people start a certain way. I don't start a certain way. I like hear an idea and then let the idea play around in my head for a little while, and then I would start writing.
And what kinds of ideas are you writing about?
It started off kind of eclectic, a lot of different things, erotic, spiritual, revolutionary, different voices each time.
And do you have a particular favorite voice, or something that you feel more free in? I don't want to lead you with that question.
I like kind of comedic type, but I also like a spiritual flow to it.
Are there some other poets that inspire you that you read, or?
Well, we call ourselves revolutionary poets, where it's more performance poetry than, it's like spoken word poetry rather than written, and where you digest it at your own pace. This type is sort of spoken word poetry. You say as little as possible to get your meaning across, and written word poetry, you say as much as possible to get.
So, and you're the spoken word poetry.
Well, I do also written word poetry, but basically I enjoy more spoken word.
So, like, how do you start the ball rolling? Like, do you just wake up and say, okay, today I'm going to
Usually
write
there
poetry?
are ideas that float by, and I grab onto one and write a little thing down to remember to come back to the thought, and after that it starts writing itself sometimes.
Okay, just
That's
letting
when
it
the most
flow.
fun, right.
Okay. Now, there's a poem that you wrote called Freaky, I don't want to say it wrong, Freaky
Deaky Dog in
Freaky
the
Deaky
House.
Dog in the House. Okay, tell us about that poem.
Well, I was listening to speech patterns of a lot of people, so and this one was a gay b-boy piece, and it's sort of
Not everyone's going to know what that is. Gay b-boy piece.
b-boy, they call them banjee boys. It's more, some people call it roughneck. It's more like a urban youth speech, slang.
How's it sound? Can you give us a little bit?
It's like, yo kid, fucked in line, jealous punk ass motherfuckers talking that yang yang shit, you know what I'm saying?
I'm glad you clarified what it was, because I don't know if I would have understood, being from Westchester, you know. Anyway, so and what's the message of that poem?
Well, it's a kid
Freaky
who...
Deaky Dog in the House. I can say it now.
Yeah. Okay. The kid is someone who has been persecuted for his homosexuality. And he's saying that no matter what anyone says, he's going to be proud of who he is. And he's going
Don't
to
tell us the poem yet. That's going to come up next. Okay. And the poem, What If?
What If is more of a spiritual poem. It's a poem of how if we saw God in different forms, what would we think of those people that we have put these categories on? And so it's more like inner reflection and kind of questioning of certain things.
What kinds of
asking
things?
What if?
What kinds of things are you questioning as a person?
Okay,
as an artist.
As an artist, I question like injustice, narrow-mindedness, and certain things, as well as my own self. Like there's certain growth that you have to do as an artist, And so sometimes I have to challenge myself in the poems as well and try to grow along with it.
Can you give us sort of an example of, a concrete example of how the poem maybe informed your life or your life informed the poem?
Okay, which poem were you talking about in particular?
Well, you
What
were
if?
speaking about what if, yeah.
Okay, what if I thought it, when it started coming to me, I wanted to write a spiritual poem. Every time I heard spiritual poems, they didn't really reflect my brand of spirituality, so I started thinking on it, and then there were certain questions I had to ask myself, and from that bring forth a catharsis that where I grew with it, and try to incorporate my own self, my own being, my own viewpoints of life, my own outlook.
All right, great. Well, are you excited to recite for us?
Definitely.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And for everyone else out there, please stay tuned for a very exciting and entertaining remainder of the show. Enjoy.
Thank you. Called Freaky Dicky Dog in the Ass. Yo, kid, fuck them lying, jealous, punk-ass motherfuckers talking that yang shit, you know what I'm saying? Yo, remember them motherfuckers used to say, yo, what's up, dog? Yo, I put the head on the bone and show him what's up. Hell yeah, straight up. Yo, but the dog admits he's a dog. But now them motherfuckers want to front. And them same trifling ass tic-tac dick motherfuckers don't want you hanging with me. Tell you it's a dog chase pussy world. Well, I don't know about that shit, cause check this out. Way I see it is, yo, like maybe it is and maybe it ain't. Yo, but if it is, I know it's a dog-eat-dog world too, you know what I'm saying? Yo, the motherfucker keeps sweating the dog and asking, yo, dog, why you want to live like that? Why won't you chase the cat? Just I tell the motherfuckers, yo, I don't know, Jay. Maybe the motherfucking dog, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Yo, so squat that shit, ain't, cause no, I ain't the one, motherfuckers. See, all of a sudden, all these inquiring minds want to know. But I tell them, yo, the dog got inquiring bone for your motherfucking asses. And it want to know if you want to help. Some more. Should know. Hell yeah, I'm ready 24/7, feet 65 and a quarter, you know what I'm saying? Yo, them motherfuckers just jealous cause the dog get more ass than they do. You don't know why the motherfuckers want to play themselves like that. Just cause the dog's bone is fat. Yo, them motherfuckers the other night I pulled homeboy. Yeah, Jamal and Dwayne's party. Yo, the dog was jamming the dance floor, kid. Hey, hey, hey. And damn, in walks homeboy. Yo, real pretty motherfucker. Yo, for lack of a better song, brother had it going on. I mean, homeboy was all that kid, and his sweet booty was mad fat. I mean, homeboy had an ass. The kind you get when you cross a donkey with a Bermuda onion. Yeah, brother, ass is so sweet and hot it brings tears to your motherfucking eyes. God damn, you know what I'm saying? Yo, homeboy kind of sort of gave me the eye when he passed by. Then those homeboys kept scoping the dog. Yo, kid, yo, my man, yo, so I stepped to him and said, yo, man, like, what's up with that? The homeboy started bugging. Must thought I'm gonna yoke him or something. So I said, yo, man, chill. Cause the dog don't bite unless you want him to. The homeboy kind of smiled and leaned over the serving table. You know how they do. You know, like he was on a menu or something. Then I looked down at that ass, bad ass. Yo, kid, I swear when the homeboy bum winked at the dog, yo, so I pawned that motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Y'all put homeboy over that ass, ran my tongue down that pretty mouth of his. Yo, it was dope. Yo, I sucking that tongue like it's a lollipop. Sure enough to make a hottie stop. And yo, kid, that was all the dog needed. I was good to go, don't you know, don't you know? My foot-long dog sprang to attention. Bow wow. You know what I'm saying? Yo, homeboy took his hand, started stroking the dog's bone, and yo, homeboy said, yo, what do you and your dog like anyway? I said, yo, baby, fresh meat. And you know ain't nothing like hot dog and warm buns on a cold night. And I got some tasty hot sauce for your ass, too, you know what I'm saying? And yo, baby, your onion looks sweet enough to make a grown man cry. And yo, like, I ain't had a good tear jerk in a long time, you know what I'm saying? Your homeboy got down on his knee and started gnawing on the dog bone through my knees. And I said, yo, baby, act like you know. Take that shit out and suck that motherfucker. Yeah, yo, I don't give a fuck. But homie started gathering, hawking the bone, and so homeboy unzipped the zip, gripped my hip, and clamped down the tip like G.I. Joe with a kung fu lip. Yo, kid, I thought, yo, baby, let's take this shit to the doghouse. When I got that motherfucker home and lay that ass on the bed and slid the motherfucking cabins off that ass, bad out. God damn, them motherfucker look pretty, all round and shit. Then make a motherfucker like me want to climb all up in that shit, you know what I'm saying? Yes, indeed, brought me to my motherfucking knees. And yo, kid, I don't go down on nobody's body. Yo, but kid, when the dog started stroking that smooth, pretty brown skin and spreading them bad boys and kissing that pretty pink asshole of his, yo, it was on. And your humble ass smelled so like, warm coconut milk and honey. Kind of tasted like it too. Yes, indeed. They were finger licking good to the last sop, you know what I'm saying? Y'all did homeboy so good, the motherfucker didn't know what to bow cursey. Lord of mercy. I had homeboy climb the motherfucking walls and say, yo, baby, seems like you're ready. And yo, kid, he was too. How a pretty asshole start twitching all anxious and shit. So I said, yo, baby, get on your knees so the dog can slide on up in there. Yo, like the words of that old song, God bless the dog that got a bone. You know what I'm saying? Y'all fuck that ass doggy style. Whoop, whoop, Snoop Dogg in that hoe. You know, y'all riding the ass over the last bucking Bronco out of Dodge. And you don't stop. And I didn't either. Hell yeah, I was still pumping that sweet pretty ass of here when the Duracell battery bungo banging bunny stopped banging his fucking drum. Yo, kid, the dog ain't no joke. I was in there like the mob. I was there to fuck him down, not to fuck around, you know what I'm saying? Yo, my balls was slapping that big old healthy ass here so often, so loud that anyone in the neighborhood had a clap in the house. They thought someone installed a motherfucking disco strut like, hey, party over here. Yo, kid, the dog had that motherfucker howling at the moon on a cloudy night, so you know, your homeboy speaking tongue that only other dog could hear, like, yo, kid, then that's when homeboy legs start shaking like he been shot or something. Then the asshole start going through convulsions and shit. Yo, kid, that's when the dog bones start barking. Woof, woof, I came all over them bad boys. Yo, by the time I finished pumping homeboy's warm sweet buns full of dog's hot sticky cream, your homeboy was speaking motherfucking tongues. Yo, I asked that motherfucker, who ass is this? She said, that a dog. I said, yeah, motherfucker. I make a believe out of your ass yet. But after that, I couldn't get the motherfucker to leave. Yo, not only did homeboy clean the dog house, but homeboy got down on his hands and knees naked and started scrubbing the dog's floor with his toothbrush. Your homeboy had that pretty ass up in the air going back and forth and sideways and shit, like teasing the motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Yo, the dog couldn't resist. Yo, in the dog world was just that shit. Yo, you know what? The dog had to slide on up in there again. And you know what? The dog started stroking them brown rounds downtown. Yo, maybe it don't take a whole heap of horn to hump a hole in your home, but it do take technique to go on and on and on and on. Yo, kid, the dog that did what comes natural, and you know homeboy be back too. Yo, kid, they always come back. So if that dog chase pussy real shit, your bro don't think so. Ain't trying to hear that shit. Go whoop whoop on king of the motherfucking dog pound. Ain't no shame in my game. Ain't nothing but G thing. Hi. Yo, bust this kid. The dog gonna be Santa this Christmas. And if you're good and hot, Santa dog may be coming down your chimney one night too. Yo, bet your motherfucking ass. Santa dog's got a present for you. Yeah. Woof. There it is. The next piece is called What If. It's different from the one just before. From the crowns of our souls to the soles of our toes, we are gods. For you see, I used to live in Harlem, and there I met a man who said his name was Yahweh. Well, let me clarify that, for I say he was a man. But he and his two faithful followers swore that he was God. And I don't mean that he said that he was a God with a small g. No, no. I meant that he said that he was God with a big G. Yahweh, a man who appeared to be in his mid-50s. He wore a light blue robe, gray floor-shine shoes, black horn-rimmed glasses, and drank Hennessy from a bottle. But one day he told me of the time when he and his faithful entourage had made a pilgrimage to Jamaica, and again for clarificational purposes, that Jamaica was Cindy's, not Jamaica Queens. And there they came upon a group of disbelievers who challenged him to prove his divinity. So reluctantly, he took that challenge. And he said that he commanded a star to fall from the heavens and land near them. And seeing this, they fell upon their knees and they believed. Oh yes, they believed. And Yahweh and his apostles retold this tale as if it were written in stone. For no one could tell them that he wasn't God. I mean, they actually believed that he was. But still, I was skeptical and no, I was not convinced. But I wonder sometimes, what if it was God? And God did visit the earth in human form. Would we believe God if God proclaimed, I am that I am, the mother, the father, the everything God? But what if as soon as God said, let us make man in our own image, we said, let us make gods in ours? And what if that was most unfortunate? For we are both ill-equipped and lack the sufficient tools to build a fitting and proper God. But we have made gods with our own petty judgments, prejudices, hatreds, and fears. We have made God like us, unloving, uncaring, and ununderstanding, and therefore ungodly. We are created in the image of a wrathful, tyrannical, punishing God and use God's word as a blunt instrument to beat each other down rather than spiritual tools to build ourselves up. But what if God did appear as a black man with knotty dreadlocks, classical African features, and dark, midnight dark skin? Could he still be the light of the world? Could he still be as pure as the driven snow? Or would a God dressed in b-boy attire with his cap turned backwards, pants sagging loosely on his hips and sporting a pair of loosely laced Air Jordans? Would we consider God a hoodlum? A part of the lost generation X'd out because we didn't take the time out to find out the why and who of who he was? And what if God did appear as a white man? And he looked like Michelangelo's uncle or lover or whatever. Would his miracles be any less miraculous? Would his love be any less pure? Would heaven be any less attractive? Or God's promise any less sure? Or what if God, he wasn't a he at all, no. Could we respect God for who she was? Would we be able to afford her the due respect of a God and be able to stand and bow before her with the same convictions we would had she appeared as a man? For as you know, in our society, God has always been depicted as the Father and the Son. But can he, as the artist formerly known as Prince, be our mama and our sister too? And what if God were dressed in a hoochie skirt, accessorized with knock-knock earrings and a gold streak in her hair? Would we call God a whore? Or what if God lived in the projects and was on welfare with 8 children in Anywhere, USA? Would God's load be too heavy for us to carry? Or her children too hot for us to hold? What if, Lord? What if? And what if God was homeless and hungry? Brother, could you spare a dime? Sister, would you take the time? Would we consider God too filthy to wash us clean, too poor to enrich our souls, too low to lift us up, and too broken to make us whole? And what if God wasn't just light, but God was the darkness that surrounds the light too? And where it was said that in the beginning there was God, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved across the face of the deep. And God said, "Light be," and there was light. But there was no reference to God creating the darkness, for they were one and the same. But when we pray or meditate, we close our eyes and look into that darkness to see God, to talk with God. For what if light isn't the absence of darkness, but only darkness illuminated? For when we cup our hands, darkness automatically fills the void. For darkness, like God, is self-manifesting. It surrounds all our internal organs and holds the stars and planets in the heavens. For there is but one darkness, for there is but one love, and there is but one God, and God, love, and darkness are so misunderstood. So misunderstood. And what if God wasn't homophobic? And of all the sexual preferences in all the world, God chose to appear as a homosexual. I mean, could he still be our man? Or would we seem boom bye-bye to him as we wade in the slaughter? Would we be so quick to judge God's love? For if God is love and love is for everyone, would it be right to deny that love to anyone? Would we insist that God lie about who he is in order to be deemed a true God? Or would God's crimes of love and passion be an abomination in our sight as well? And what if God chose to appear as a hermaphrodite or a drag queen? Would God 2 snaps up be sufficient to knock God 1 peg down? Simply because we didn't want to deal with him in drag, would we call for UNITY and call him a fag? Would the fact that man had designed the dress codes and decided who wears what and not God weigh heavy on our minds? Or with God's courage to stand up and be who God's heart compass tells God he must be to be happy and free be enough for God to be praised and for us to realize that God has made no mistakes, and maybe, just maybe, it's we who are mistaken. And because we don't understand what God understood, does it mean that it's not understandable? Does it mean that it's not all good? For it takes courage, real courage, to be exactly who we are. And sometimes the only way we can truly change the world is to truly change our minds. And what if Native people designated hermaphrodites, homosexuals, and or two-spirited people as their spiritual leaders and healers of the nation? For they saw God had been both male and female, And they saw these people as being the physical embodiment of their spiritual God. But if we are to heal the world and the nation, we must first heal ourselves. And if we are to heal ourselves, we must first take back our power, the spiritual power that we have so ignorantly abdicated to others. For it's only through the acknowledgement of the Spirit and of our own divinity that we access the life force and that we regain our former magic. And what if our hardships are really our blessings? For it's said that anything that doesn't kill us makes us that much stronger. And our souls must be strong. Oh, and our souls must be oh so strong. And whether through the overcoming of these obstacles that we exercise and strengthen our souls to be strong enough to join with God. And what if we are so afraid to die that we can't live? And the real victory over death is knowing that we have lived before and that we have died before. Probably many, many times. For our souls, our eternal souls are infinite. It's only our mortal bodies which are finite. And what if being born again simply meant being reincarnated? Our infinite spirits manifesting yet another finite body. And if we are loving and admiring, we'll be born in the image of those whom we most loved and admired, and ultimately in the image of God. And if we are hating and despising, we'll be born in the image of those whom we must hate and despise. For ultimately, there are two things that links each and every soul to each and every other soul. And those two things are love and hate. So what do we reap the harvest in our next lifetime from the seeds we have sown in this lifetime? And so on and so forth and so what? Well, the reason I was born as a man who is both black and gay is because my soul was once embodied in the body of somebody, me, who hated both blacks and gays. And it was my assignment in this lifetime to find the love and admiration in these people who I once most hated and despised, because I didn't realize, I just didn't understand that I could not become one with God, which is everything, and not become one with everything, which is God. And what if I were God, with the small g, and you too were gods, with the small g? And with the responsibility of we gods, with the small g's, to find the godliness in all other gods we gods came in contact with. And what if we gods greeted every other god as if they were the God, with the big G? But what if God with the person sitting next to us? Could that be God? Could he? Could she? Could we be God? Could we be God? But what if everyone was perfect in all their imperfections? And they were the perfect mirror of us to gaze our own imperfections. And the rights, wrongs, and the differences we saw in others were simply our own rights, wrongs, and the differences reflected back at us, reflecting our souls and the distance our souls have traveled. But what if God is all this and more? Now I swear, I don't know. But what if God does? What if God is? But what if God deserves respect not because God is all good or all male or all heterosexual, but God deserves respect because God is all period? So what if we let God be God rather than defining God and thereby limiting God by definition? For God could appear as the person we must hate and despise as our test. Would I pass? Would you? What if this is our test? A man, a woman, a gay, a God. What if? What if? What if? What if? For they say if a chicken has children, why they are destined to become chickens. And if a God has children, why they are destined to become gods. So yes, from the crowns of our souls to the soles of our toes, we are gods. Yes, we are gods. Peace. The next piece is called Apparitions. When he was alive, he stayed there. And they say his spirit still roams the halls. And at certain times of day, you can see him there, looking out windows, watching life go by. When he died, no one seemed to notice, for he too was unaware that he had died. For how could he have known what being dead felt like, never knowing what it felt like to be alive. The next piece is called Obituary of a Dream. On the night that we made love, you penetrated my solitude with your tenderness, and I conceived a dream. And sometime after foreplay and before the fact that I received no phone calls from you to notify me that we had died prematurely, and a dream attached to the umbilical cord of my heart had been stillborn. So I unceremoniously buried them alongside your picture in a sea of tears.